Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! Hola y bienvenido al podcast de la película Fresh Tomatoes. And that was Google Translate.
That was great. That was amazing. If you don't know who we are,
Really? Am I just a natural?
I thought I was. I thought I was there at the in Spain. I thought we were,
in the square in Madrid.
Exactly. I thought it was, I was like, who is this wonderful Chiquita in front of me? It's definitely not the Simone LaRue that we know and love.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, I mean, what a way to start the podcast. It's all a shambles from here, really. This week, as you may have guessed from that intro, is Spanish Horror Week.
Yes.
Simone, for those who haven't caught up on last week's episode, do you want to explain how we came to this conclusion of doing Spanish horror movies?
Yes. So my dad has started listening to our podcast on his commutes. And now my dad is the reason that I love bad movies, because he is unfailingly optimistic. And it actually took me a really long time to realize movies can be bad, actually.
Yeah.
So he recommended, he said we should check out these two movies. His recommendation was also that we drink sangria and eat tapas while we do it. But first of all, listeners, we will not do that to your ears. Second of all, we are recording this on a Monday night, so sangria wasn't like strictly on the table for me. So sorry, Dad.
To be fair,
but we're eating sangria, we're drinking sangria in spirit.
Exactly. It's all about the thought that counts. I mean, to be fair, I'm moving house, and I went down to the only shop that was available in like a 20-yard radius, and it definitely did not have any Spanish wine. So that was completely out for me too.
Bummer.
Plus I'm driving later, so that's probably not a good idea that I drink. We're alcoholics, but we're responsible alcoholics.
We're responsible about it.
Yeah, exactly. But we did watch Spanish movies. You did a Spanish intro, and we do like Spain.
Love it. If anything, I'm even more keen to visit again.
So much. Again? When were you in Spain?
Yeah, I went with my parents a couple times when I was a kid.
Oh, lovely. That's so nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful,
wonderful.
beautiful country.
That's great.
Very hot.
Yes, I can imagine. I can imagine it would be very, very warm. So, I mean, in terms of Spanish horror movies, like, they are just naturally good. Like, we're not necessarily talking about these two movies which we're reviewing today. Don't want to bury the lead here, but there are some really good Spanish horror.
Veronica is a Spanish horror movie, if I remember correctly. Or is it Italian?
No, I think it was Spanish.
I think Veronica's Spanish, and that is still one of my favorite horror movies to come out in the last couple of years. I really enjoyed, I think it's called The Honeymoon.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. There are really good Spanish horror movies out there.
Yeah.
Are these two movies some of them?
I mean, it's debatable. One of them is certainly better than the other. That's something we can definitely say. But yeah,
we'll discuss which is which, because I'm not sure.
I mean, Wreck. That's one of the sort of foundational horror movies, and that's a Spanish horror movie. I mean, yeah, the Spaniards know what they're doing. They're very, very good
they
at
know
horror.
spooky.
Yeah, they're awesome. Well done, Spain. We're very much behind you on this. Yeah. So, Simone, these two Spanish horror movies, though, something a little different. So, which ones are we doing, as recommended by La Papa?
So we are doing The Bar, and we are doing The Skin I Live In, with a surprise appearance from Antonio Banderas that I didn't expect in this episode.
Yes, very much so. I don't know how I feel about being both terrified and horny over the man.
I mean, it's not a new feeling for either of us, but
but it wasn't what we expected this morning. Because
No.
I mean, the funniest story for our
Oh my
listeners,
God.
before we started recording this, and I mean, if you've seen The Skin I Live In, you know that what's about to be said is very, very weird. To
Yeah.
summarize it very quickly, but like it worked out that both Simone and I watched The Skin I Live In this morning at sort of, break of dawn, the second we kind of got up, and it is an incredibly weird film to start your day.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
rest of the day definitely had like weird vibes for me.
I know how you feel. I definitely was walking around sort of in that sort of ick zone for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish you could take sick days because of things like this. Like, I wish companies were more
Hey
understanding.
guys, I started my day off with a real weird movie and the vibes are off for me.
I'm just gonna sit with this one out if that's okay. Just
Yeah, I
So-
can't imagine that I was a comforting presence in meetings today.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So, what are you drinking then if sangria is not on the tables? Let's decide an
I'm
order
still
of
having
doing
wine
these films.
because
Good on
I'm
you.
not driving anywhere. And
Good
we
on
had
ya.
an open bottle from yesterday, so I'm just having a nice rosé.
Oh, lovely. That's really nice. As you can see, I am just having water, trying to keep it healthy, keep hydrated. Make sure you drink your sufficient water during the day, you guys. That's our PSA of the day. That's for
Got
sure.
to.
Yeah,
Got to.
absolutely. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like we should. I know the rules are that you should go first, but I kind of really
Here's
want to
the
just get the
reason-
bar out the way.
Yeah, here's the reason I want to do the bar first is also just a trigger warning at the top, guys. When we talk about The Skin I Live In, there's going to be a lot of talks about sexual assault. So maybe we do the bar first. You can listen to that and then just get out if you think that that's going to be a little triggering for you, because it is intense.
It is. That's it. It just is very into. Yeah, no, I completely agree. So let's get the bar out the way, and then we can go for this. Right. So I did not write a synopsis, again, in the process of moving, so it was just not on my priority list, unfortunately. But here we go. So in Madrid, this lady, Elena, played by Bianca Suarez, is going on a date. She has met this guy on a dating app, and she is heading over to the hotel, the fancy hotel where they are going to meet. Unfortunately, she doesn't exactly know where it is, and her phone is dying. So she decides to go into this little sort of grungy little bar kind of cafe thing that's, just not her style. She's very upper class, and this is very lower class kind of vibes, and she's just not very happy about it. So she goes in there and she meets Nacho, played by Mario Casas, who is this hipster dude. He's got a beard, sort of, belts and braces kind of guy. He's got a laptop. He's watching a video on his phone. Very hipster chic. Then you've got Trini, played by Carmen Machi, who is the owner of, she is a compulsive gambler, and she always comes into this cafe to play the slot machines and ignores everyone doing their thing. Then you've got Satur, who's played by Secund de la Rosa. He is this really sweet, adorable guy who is like a waiting staff at the bar, and he's just really sweet, wants to make conversation with everyone. He's just delightful. Then you got Israel, played by Jamie Ordonez, who is a bum. Essentially, he's a homeless man who goes into the bar and spouts Christian proverbs at everyone in crazy sort of babble. You also have Amparo, played by Terele Pavez, who is the owner of the bar. Then you've got Sergio and Andres, played by Alejandro Aguada and Joaquin Clement, but they don't really feature, so I'm not going to go into them too much. So Satoru tries to help Elena. They like have a chat. Everyone sort of like establishes themselves, and then this big sort of bloated, gigantic, obese man with like pus flowing from his eyes and things comes into the bar. Everyone kind of looks at him very weird. He goes into the bathroom and he's in there for ages. Things continue in the bar as normal. We get to establish the characters a bit more when suddenly a street sweeper gets shot in the head at the outside of the cafe. Very, very scary. Everyone's freaking out. They don't know what to do. Someone tries to leave the bar and they're immediately shot as well. So everyone thinks this is like a weird sort of sniper situation. No one wants to leave the bar and they're all freaking out and really upset. Eventually, they decide that the guy in the bathroom has been in there way too long and something must be wrong with him. So they go over to the bathroom and they realize that he is in fact dead. He's got this pus going through his eyes. They all drag him out of the bathroom and everyone's freaking out again. as the story develops, they realize that this guy who died on the toilet is in fact infected with something very different. It's a new sort of pathogen that's really highly contagious. And it is kind of, they connect the dots and realize that the people outside who are sniping, whoever walks out of the bar, are trying to stop the spread of whatever this virus is by killing them. It's also a huge cover-up. So these guys come around, burn tires in front of the bar so that it looks like there's a fire, and no one is allowed in or out of the square in Madrid. There is a huge sort of divisive moment in the film where half of those people who didn't touch the dead bloated guy go off against the people who did touch the bloated guy. The ones who didn't touch the guy force the others down into the basement. So those who were down in the basement are Trini, Elena, Nacho, and Israel and Satur. They all go down into the basement. The others stay up there. Eventually, the snipers actually infiltrate the bar, shoot all of those guys, set the place on fire. The other guys sneak down into the underground sewers. They also realize that the fat guy had a bunch of antidotes, a bunch of them stick themselves, a bunch of people die. In the end, the only survivor, spoilers, but also not really, this is from 2017, catch your films, is Elena. She walks out and she's been given the antidote. She walks out of the drains and no one helps her, which is super fucking weird. And she just kind of walks home. The end. Way.
I'm not going to ask for your cliffhanger because I don't think there's a point of us inserting a clip here. I don't want to guess at the linguistic ability of our listeners, but
absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, it might be, and if people, want to complain to us about this, like, that's fair enough, but, we're not being sort of nationalistic or Anglo-centric or anything. It's just the fact that, statistically speaking, it would be a waste of everyone's time. Yeah. Exactly. So I think, you're absolutely right. Cliffhangers for this one, it's just a no-go.
Apologies to our Spanish-speaking listeners.
Yeah, exactly. We are sorry for this one. But that being said, we are celebrating Spanish films. So,
Yay.
Take it on the chin. Yeah. So tell me your thoughts.
Oh man, I at first I was like, maybe I'm not understanding this movie because I'm very tired. But like, to me, it's a movie of just a group of people jumping from conclusion to conclusion with like actually very little to back it up.
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems so weird to me that, people arrive at these answers, but like, they're like, no, there must be a virus. That's why they're not letting us out. And then, oh, they read some text messages and they're like, he must have an antidote. And like, they find one, but you're just like, this is shaky logic at best. That keeps like, it's I don't know. I found that odd. And as always, I am frustrated by movies where I don't have answers at the end. Like, you don't even know if they're right. Like, Elena gets out and she just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like almost tees it up for either, a sequel or just a weird thing. I think I read somewhere that this was supposed to be like a satirical piece. And, in sort of light of, mid-coronavirus world, we do know that people are panicky Pete's. And so, they do jump to conclusions a lot of the time. For example, and I think you'll love this, some newspaper here in the UK reported that there would be a petrol shortage. And so everyone went out and bought petrol, and now petrol's gone up like by a lot, which is great. It's awesome.
Thanks so much.
The reality of the situation was diesel would be a little bit slowed down. So it's fantastic. So we know that people are panicky Pete's, and I think this was a satire on that. And the fact that like I can see that. The people who are injured or downtrodden want to unify, while the people who are clean and not suffering just want to divide, which I thought was interesting. And I do agree with you in the fact that it was a very jumpy to conclusions, but sort of in that satirical lens, I can
see. Yeah, if you add the satirical thing in, it does make good sense.
Absolutely. Character-wise, loved this film. Thought there were some really interesting and diverse characters. kind of very much got over Israel towards the end. I was just tired of that guy.
He started off, you're like, like it's a shame, like, there, but for the grace of God, go I. Like, I'm not gonna judge the homeless dude, but they really played into a lot of hard stereotypes. He loses me at the end, I think.
Definitely. Like he throughout the film, like he seems violent, but he doesn't, or not violent, but like threatening,
like unstable,
but like not actually violent. And then in the end, it's sort of like, we need a villain, so we're just gonna use this guy. It's like a really easy scapegoat.
Yeah, and I feel like they for a bit also tried to paint Nacho as like the villain, and it was this thing where it's like, but aren't we all just as bad as each other in an emergency? And it's like, not really. There are two perfectly sane people in your group who have stayed that way throughout the movie.
Whole time. Yeah, exactly. Kind of, I guess it backfires on itself in that respect.
But Nacho does get hotter as the movie goes on. As soon as he loses the glasses and the dumb hairstyle and the fucking suspenders, you're like, oh.
Yeah, I get you. He gets a little bit oily with the, when they literally
I like a rugged man.
Yeah, man with a beard, with the responsibility.
He has a
for
great
others.
beard.
He does have a very good beard. So it seems that 2017 Spain had a very big thing against beards. Like they were a little bit beard racist, it would seem.
I wouldn't know, but yeah, it seems like, or at least very anti-hipster.
Yeah, exactly. I would very much like to have been in Spain when this came out and found out if that was like a hot topic. It's interesting. I love watching films from other countries because you don't realize these like weird little things that people have.
Yeah, all these little cultural like idiosyncrasies.
And it's beautiful to see, and I think that's why sort of it's very important to keep watching foreign films and actually, I know it's a lot more sort of mainstream in the fact that we're getting to see a lot more foreign films.
Which is awesome.
Which is amazing, but it's good to see that because we understand like different cultures a lot more, which is lovely. Yeah. So
this is how we travel in a post-corona world.
I love it. Squid Games is actually a cultural journey for all of us. That's what it is.
It actually really is. It's all about classism.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's perfect for that. So, one of the final things I want to say about this one is Elena. What did you think of her as a character?
I liked her. I thought she was pretty consistent throughout. I wish she'd had maybe more of an arc. Because she actually starts off as a pretty down-to-earth person, like for the most part. Like at one point she slips up and she's like, "Oh, I would never be seen in a bar like this," and it's like, but she wouldn't. And she immediately regrets saying that, right? Like she immediately feels bad, but she's actually pretty consistently like kind and thoughtful throughout the whole movie. So you're just like, wait, so what did we learn from this?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're so right. And I think she had like, there was a moment of glory there towards the end, it would seem, where like she was able to get down into the sewer and grab the the sewer scene was just grim as an aside.
Sewer stuff.
What would you do? Like, how would you handle that?
I could never. I would die. I'd die.
Yeah, I would rather die.
I would rather die.
Yeah. They only had 3 syringes and there were 4 people. You can have mine. It's fine. I'm not going down there. I'll throw up every 4 seconds. Grim. No.
Yeah, it's just gonna be me dry heaving. That's all you'll hear in the sewers.
It's you and Nacho at the end, and he's like, "Keep quiet," and you're just there like, no. But yeah, like there was that bit where she had the true advantage at the end when like she went down into the sewer and grabbed the syringes and things.
Yeah, that's true.
And there was like no advantage to it. Like she just kind of, there wasn't even like a moment of corruption where she was just like, I'm actually gonna, almost inject one and then realize there was no character development for her.
I mean, I think this movie was perfectly fine. I think it was
Mhm.
cool to see like a weird little slice of Spanish culture in like, you know, the typical like people that you'd see at a bar like that.
Mhm.
Like a little bit of a cultural cross section. I thought that was quite
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's look, it's perfectly lovely. It's a perfectly fine film. It's not particularly scary, but
Uh-uh.
it's just like a nice romp for a bit, you know. You've
Yeah.
got like some really good characters, and they do actually give some really powerful performances.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. Like there's that bit in the sewer with Sator and Trini when they like talk to each other about
Yeah.
sort of like, you know, ignoring each other and being human to
Yeah.
each other and things like that. And it was really beautiful to see.
Yeah. No, there are really some golden bits of dialogue in there.
Mhm, mhm. And I mean, as Simone said last week on the minisode, you've got to watch foreign films with subtitles rather than dubbed because you lose so much emotion when you do dubbing. You have to just
Yeah.
suck it up, read the words. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, there are very few times where the dub has been superior or at least even
Exactly.
equivalent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Good. Well, I mean, golden nugget for this bad boy.
I think for me it's definitely Trini. I thought she was such an
Mhm.
interesting character from start to finish, and she just gets
Yes.
like more complex and dark as the movie goes on, and I
Mm.
really liked that. I thought she's kind of stole the show a little bit.
Yeah, and then she's got like a good redemption arc at the end when she's like,
Eh,
"Oh, I wasn't turning my back." No, no, not in terms of like what she does, but like what she
yeah.
says when she's like, "Oh, I didn't turn my back on humanity. I didn't want humanity to see me." And that was like, I thought
Yeah.
that was quite sweet. I thought that was really cute and
Yeah.
really sad. Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
What's your golden
Um,
nugget?
my golden nugget, I think, is I don't know. I think it's the mystery behind sort of this virus. I thought that was really cool. I think
Mm,
having the perspective of a post-pandemic world gives these films a lot more flavor.
mm,
And I think seeing sort of, you know, how people imagined pandemics or viruses spreading
yeah.
being handled and sort of the sci-fi aspect of it versus, you know, living in the reality of what it is, it's just always fun to watch. And so I really loved this because
Yeah.
unfortunately it's one of the last pure moments of complete speculation that we'll ever get.
An innocent time.
Because from now on we're going to have more realistic pandemic movies because we've been through one, we
Yeah.
know how people are going to act, so people will hopefully write better. But when it was back in 2017, you had those dewy-eyed filmmakers and film writers who could just do what they wanted, and it was gorgeous.
Like, yeah, you know, I imagined that a government would act very decisively to shut down a virus.
Yeah, 6 people and done. That's all it would take.
Ah,
Dreams. Would you recommend it?
oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
okay.
You know what? I think yeah. Like, if you want to check out, like, if like I said, I think it's a cool cultural cross section. I think it's like a nice, from like a slice of life perspective.
Mhm.
Not that I think that it's totally representative of like the
No.
Spanish experience, but I think it's cool. It's cool to see like who the characters are. It's yeah, check it out. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a particularly long film, is it? So
Mm-mm.
it's lovely to just get through, you just enjoy it, and yeah, you meet some really nice characters along the way, and yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. Yeah, I would recommend it too. Yeah.
Excellent.
Right then, Simone, tell me about our creepy morning today, please.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do
Okay.
is I'm going to explain this story in chronological order and not in the order that the movie shows,
That's a
because I do
good
think
plan.
that this plot is actually unhinged and the movie tries to make it artsy with the order that it shows the story in.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, we'll speak about that. We'll
So just
definitely be speaking
again,
about that.
guys, this is your chance to like swerve out. Big trigger warning. There's a lot of sexual assaults in this movie.
Yeah, if you want to catch up, I would say give us 20 minutes if you just want to
No,
avoid
I
it and
would
then come back.
just,
You gonna call
because
it?
even as we
Yeah.
talk about it, like, you guys will see you next week.
Yeah, have a great one. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. We love you and there's nothing you can do. Okay. So this movie centers on Robert Ledgard, Dr. Robert Ledgard, played by Antonio Banderas. He is a brilliant surgeon who is followed by tragedy. First is the untimely demise of his wife. His wife had an affair with the maid's son, Zeka, played by Roberto Alamo, and she died, and she burned horribly. And then when she finally saw her reflection after months of this doctor caring for her, she threw herself out of a window. So, oh, trigger warning for suicide. We'll put that in the notes because there's also a lot of, there's a lot.
Suicide. Yeah.
She throws herself out of the window. Their daughter, Norma Ledgard, is the one who discovers her body, and she is in and out of psychiatric care for most of her childhood. When it seems like she started doing much better, Robert lets her come with him to a wedding. At this wedding, she meets Vicente, played by Jan Cornet, and the two of them hit it off immediately. They go off to be alone somewhere quiet, and it quickly turns into a rape situation. It's treated as ambiguous, but she said no and he didn't stop, so it's rape.
Yeah, straight up.
Her mental health declines rapidly and she eventually kills herself. But Dr. Ledgard, he realized what happened to her, and he happened to see the license plate of Vicente as he drove away on his motorbike. So naturally, he does what any psychopathic surgeon would do. He kidnaps Vicente, and what starts is like a 6-year-long journey where he gives him a sex change and performs a whole bunch of very experimental plastic surgeries on him to basically turn Vicente into a copy of his wife. From here on out, we'll refer to the wife as Vera Cruz, played by Elena Anaya. She's referred to as she in the movie. Technically, she would be a he because Vicente never changed his gender. I'm going with she for ease.
Fair.
This is hard.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least you've recognized it. That's important.
So from here on out, we just have these very tense scenes with Vera and Robert. At the same time, we find out that Robert has been doing this experimental gene therapy where basically her skin is really thick and like impervious to a lot of damage. That doesn't really come back at any point. He's basically told to knock it off by the president of like the research institute he works at. His friend Fulgencio, who he also does a bunch of like dodgy underground surgeries with, is like, hey, this is fucked up. I think I realized what you've done. And he's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And even Vera, because now they're friends. Oh, because also, sorry, Zeka comes back.
Yes.
He thinks that Vera is obviously the ex-wife that he, had an affair with all those years ago. So naturally, he rapes her. But Robert walks in as that's happening and shoots him. And then that propels Robert into Vera's arms. Remember, Vera is the man who raped his daughter. He and Vera have like a thing going and he thinks it's all good, but then Vera's like, no, and shoots him and escapes. And the movie ends as she finds her mother again. Yep. That's it.
Oh, boy.
And he and Zeka were actually brothers because he was also the maid's son, but she just like didn't really tell him.
No. It's a lot, I would say. This movie is a lot.
Yeah. For those who don't know, so the way that this movie plays it out is it starts off with Dr. Ledgard doing all these experiments on who you think is his wife, and then it slowly you realize it's not his wife, but you're like, oh, maybe he like gave another woman the space, and then it sort of keeps going back in time and revealing everything, and then it fast forwards back to the present in time for Vera to shoot him and ride off into the sunset, as it were.
Yeah. How did you feel about the reveal I would love to know your thoughts.
I figured it out a while.
Did you?
Well, I mean,
okay.
because from the very beginning, you're like, oh, okay, that's not his wife. Like, this is a creepy thing that he's done. Like, he's given someone plastic surgery. And then more or less, once I saw Vicente, I was like, oh no, they're not. They're not.
that was
and then they do.
Yeah, that was kind of my hope. I was hoping that wasn't the twist, so I refused to believe it. And then it just gets worse and worse. And I think what's great about it's both great and really horrific is the fact that it's such a slow occurrence. Like, you know, he gets, you know, vaginoplasty and then breasts. And
yeah,
then...
that's an odd place to just start, but cool.
Are you really criticizing an insane man who turns his daughter's rapist into his wife and then wants to marry her? That's your hang up, is starting with the vagina.
I'm just saying he's not the best surgeon.
He's not even a good
like, if you're committed to giving this guy a sex change, right? Like, surely you force feed him estrogen for a while, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would have loved to know the end game in his mind before he turned him into his wife. Like, was that always his plan, or was he just gonna like turn him into a woman and then was like, oh, I miss my wife, I might as well turn this guy into my wife? Like, what was, like, when did the how?
I have so many questions, and the casting choice was really weird, right? Because I mean, they picked a guy with a pretty slight build, but it's still like he's a grown man with like broad shoulders, and like they're like, now he's Vera, and it's a completely different looking actress and different eye color even.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like they maybe could have cast someone who, I don't know, was a bit more like diminutive in stature and had brown eyes at least. Because you're just like, there's no way that man turned into this one. I don't care how good a plastic surgeon he is.
Maybe that was a device to not make this the ickiest movie on the planet.
I don't know.
Because I think if you truly believed that Vicente became Vera, you would just never stop throwing up and your brain would just break.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot. And then we decided, because we're geniuses and we've been doing this for over 200 episodes, well, 200 movies, we decided to watch this first thing in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was a lot more boob than I needed to see first thing in the morning.
Right, okay. We do not feel the same way about
that. We've covered this. I'm painfully straight. I mean, look, is she beautiful in every way, shape, and form? Yes, she's gorgeous. I was just like, oh my God. And like, my mom's visiting, so my mom walked in to bring us coffee, and there's just tits on the screen, and I was like, we're watching them that your husband recommended.
It's for my job. Yeah, that's got to be a weird extra layer for you, because your father.
No. What his message said is, he was like, you should watch The Bar. Also, I'm going to check out this other movie called The Skin I Live In, and you should check it out too.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Dad.
I think you should definitely discuss this with him in depth and for a long, long time.
Dad.
This is a great choice. Thank you, Mr. LaRue. I really appreciated this. Oh goodness. So what did you like about it? Let's talk about the things that we liked.
There are a couple things. It's cool to see Antonio Banderas act in Spanish. Obviously, as Western moviegoers, we don't see that very often. And unless, I guess, you watched Desperado. But yeah, it was cool to see him act in Spanish. He's always a fantastic actor. I think he did really well in this role. I also thought the woman who played Vera did a really incredible job. She was the perfect level of spooky.
Yes, completely agree with you. Yeah,
you know, I think there were some really interesting bits to this movie, but I think as a whole, like, there are some things that just don't come together. I mean, besides the whole plot being totally unhinged, like they really make a big deal out of the fact that Vera's skin is like genetically modified to be like really strong and impervious to stuff, and that never really comes back. Like, it's like Chekhov's mutated skin.
Yeah,
She
I
doesn't
g-
use it to her advantage to escape or to
no,
accomplish anything.
no,
She's just got
absolutely
tough
nothing.
skin.
Yeah, it's almost as if like it was kind of like trying to redeem the to redeem Antonio Banderas's character, because it's like, oh, the Presidente told him to not do it anymore and he didn't, therefore he's a good guy. And it's like, that is the thinnest
Yeah.
thinnest of ice sheets to be standing on, my friend. Like,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
like, oh
not a
yeah, he's
redemption quality.
experimenting on this man who did not consent to it. But it's for medical science. Never mind that would not be like reputable.
No, not even a little bit. Not even a little
Like,
bit. But yeah, I do agree with you that that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, and it should have, and it would have been nice if it did. But overall, yeah, like you say, Antonio Banderas incredible in this. Both actors, Vincente and Vera, were really, really good. I really felt sorry for Antonio Banderas's character in all this. I mean, to be fair, like, you know, having your wife and your daughter commit suicide after horrible, horrible things, and like your wife cheating on you and all of this stuff, and then to witness the rapist of your daughter turning into a woman who you loved and then be having sex with the
you
guy
say he
that she left
witnessed
you.
it, like he didn't directly make it happen.
What, them having sex?
No, you said he witnessed the man who raped his daughter turn into the woman he loved.
Oh, yeah, it was a very passive way that I said that. I do
Yeah,
apologize. Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was it
Okay,
wasn't just a
okay.
witness, I would say.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't a witness in that. But yeah, that like it's like about 10 levels deeper fucked up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's no wonder he was like this, you know, before his death. I think most of us would be too.
I don't know. No.
Do you have a higher
Hang
standard
on.
than this?
I feel like many of us have encountered tragedy in our lives on some level. And never have we thought, you know what I'm going to do instead of call the police with a clear license plate that I remember after the rape of my daughter. Instead, I will track him down myself, kidnap him, and have him undergo an elaborate and expensive series of surgeries to look like my deceased wife. And
Did you
then
not know that this was based on a true story?
is this just what men are like?
This is every man watches this movie and goes, "Yep, yeah, I would do the same." Yeah,
Spot on.
damn, yeah, damn. It's scary because it's true.
What if my arch nemesis had incredible boobs, though?
Things I want to get tattooed on my body. Oh man, so golden nugget for this one.
Gosh. You know, visually, this film is really interesting, actually. I think there were some very cool directorial choices made. As fucking bizarre as this movie and the plot is, like, it's filmed very beautifully, actually. It's a visually stunning movie. You know, if you all the rape, all the sex scenes are so weird. I don't think this
Very weird.
they all feel like they were written by someone who's never actually had sex.
I disagree. I think it was written by someone who's only had very bad sex.
Yeah, because all the men in this, I'm just like, oh no,
They're all
whether
terrible.
it's consensual or not, you're like, get off her.
Yeah, it's all hideous. Like, it just never makes you want to have sex again. Like, it's all grim.
It's dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your golden nugget?
I think it's just I would agree with you. I think the color palette for this is just absolutely stunning. And I think just if you can get past the story and just all of the nonsense of that, like, this is actually a truly pretty film to watch. It's just very pretty. And you know what? Like, the story in itself might be weird and really fucked up, but it's a pretty good story too.
Yeah. You know, it's certainly a story.
I enjoyed it. Like, not, I think enjoyed the wrong is the wrong word, but like, there is no word in English for that where you yeah. I responded positively to this movie.
You were entertained.
Yeah, I was entertained. So would you recommend it is the big question.
You know what? If you heard all of this and you were still like, this might be my bag, then I guess it is.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I would only recommend this to a very specific type of person, someone who loves Cannes Film Festival films and like goes to South by Southwest religiously. Like this is the film for them.
Yeah, it's artsy and weird, and you have to overlook a lot of weird shit to be like, oh, but look at how he chose to do the lighting for this character. Like, it's technically good.
Absolutely. But it is disturbing. So guys, really, if you do watch it, make sure you're watching it with someone who will not be like completely fucked up from this film. Yeah,
exactly. There you go. Just give your friends a nice warning.
Big warning. Big warning. Well, anyway, thank you very much. Or should I rather say gracias. Both to you
gracias.
And your papa for recommending this week. It's been fun.
Yes. Mucho bien.
Mucho bien. So Simone, what is your gratitude for this week?
My gratitude for this week is my mom. My mom's down here. She's visiting. I get to hang out with her and spend time with her. And it's really nice. It's nice to have my mom around.
Yeah, it's nice when you can hang out with your parents and stuff. And yeah, it's just lovely. Yeah.
What's your gratitude?
My gratitude this week is love and just couples in general and just love and lovely things. So we went to a heritage site. Me and my girlfriend went to a heritage site on Sunday, and basically we were wandering around, and one of the volunteers came up and like spoke to us about the place and gave us the history. We then went upstairs, and someone else came and spoke to us about this, like the history of the upstairsy bit. And it turns out that they're actually a married couple who volunteer together as retired
couple. Just love it so much.
And they just love it so much. But before we found out about that, I actually turned to Georgette and I was like, we should do this when we retire and be like a couple who does these things. And then the wife came up to us and spoke, and then we like said, oh, we spoke to Bill downstairs, and she was like, Bill's my husband. We were like, this is too cute. And I love all of this. And it's just I'm just so grateful for love. I love that journey
for you.
Yeah, I was like, I see you in me, older people. This is wonderful. So yeah, it was really,
Look, I've
really
met
lovely.
Future me.
Yeah, so it was really lovely, and I'm just really grateful for cute couples like that who do, cute things like go to
doing
national
the Lord's
sites.
Work. Those two.
It keeps the world spinning. It really does. It really does. Yeah.
Aww.
Well, talking about keeping the world spinning and things that are just amazing and all things like that, next week we have a special guest. One could almost say the most special of all the guests. And I'm sorry to everyone else who has guested on this podcast.
You're all special to us.
Yeah, you're all special to us. But we will be having David Ault back on the podcast.
Yay, David!
Longtime favorite from the No Sleep podcast. We love him so very much. And David suggested that we do 80s horror movies, Simone. So
excellent.
Some of the wonderful, cheesiest things from that wonderful decade.
Yeah.
So
sure. We've done the 90s so far. So let's get into the 80s. A great time for horror.
Exactly. And so we will be kicking off with Maximum Overdrive, which was Stephen King's coke-fueled debut into directing and writing. This film is just his coke days explained, basically.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'm mentally prepared for a very cokey Stephen King experience.
Exactly, and then Vamp is the second film.
Okay.
So it's a coming of age teenage story with vampires. Very exciting.
Why do I feel like I watched Vamp at some point?
I wouldn't be surprised, Simone. You're very
knowing my dad.
The 80s. Yeah. So yeah, David Ault and the 80s. I'm very excited. Next week's gonna be fun.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
Please send me those movie titles so I don't forget.
I'll send you with the correct dates so we all watch the same movies. Yeah.
I mean, I'll just check for 80s,
I mean, yeah, that's also true. You could just do that. Yeah. That's what makes you the brains of this operation. Well, guys,
Not
thank you so
really.
much for listening. We really do appreciate you. You guys are amazing. How is your spooky season? We are about halfway. We'll be over halfway by the time you're listening to this into October. How has Spooktober been for you? How much pumpkin have you eaten? What is the spiced latte situation where you are?
Mhm.
What movies are you watching? And what horror series are you getting into? What foreign horror films are you watching in particular? And we would love to hear that. Where can they let us know, Simone?
Tell us all about it on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP, and you can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you very much. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
And in Spanish, adios.
Adios.